Hello, everyone. My name is Hermanni Toivo. I'm a Salesforce CTA, and I also do CTA coaching. Today, we're going to go through laptops to schools, and I'm going to walk you through how to solve that scenario requirement by requirement. All right, so let's begin solving. So first step is what I've done is I've already gone through and read the whole scenario once through, and now we're going to start reading it over again. And this time we're actually going to start solving each requirement, jotting down notes, and highlighting the document as we should be on the second read around. So let's begin. So Laptops to Schools is a nonprofit company that receives donated laptops from corporations and allocates them to over 2,000 schools in the world. Okay, so this is basically it for what we put into the company overview. So if we go over here to the slide, here we have the company overview slide. And here we can put for the business model here that laptop to schools takes in donations of laptops and allocates them to schools. So they, out of their business model, they're an NGO. And they then either donate them to schools or to recycling. Then, if we look here, they have 50 offices across the United States and Europe and are organized into 12 country-based teams. So, 12 country-based teams with 50 offices across US and Europe. Okay, and they have 2 shipping and receiving hubs in Denver and Paris. So shipping and receiving in Denver and Paris. So we'll put here 2 shipping and receiving cities like this. And the donated laptops are shipped to one of these hubs and evaluated and cleaned before being allocated to schools. Okay, there's a bit of that later on, so no need to highlight for that. And L2S receives donations from approximately 50,000 corporations, or 5,000 corporations, so 5,000 corporations. That's it for the number of accounts we have. So we have here object, and here we have the volume, and here we have the growth per year. And then here in this column, we're going to put the volume after 2 years. And this is simply so that we can do the data volume calculations so that we can identify what are the LDV objects. So for accounts, we're going to have that the volume here is 5,000. And this might change later on, for we're going to assume that it's 1.2 growth. So then it should be equal to this to the power of 5 times then the volume. So we're going to have around 12,000 accounts after 5 years. And then if we go on average, each corporation donates 300 laptops each month. So we have 5,000 times 300 laptops times 12 months in the year. So the amount of laptops, whatever object, we haven't yet decided what the object is 12 times 300, is 12 times 300, and then that times 5,000. So that's how much we have per year. And if we expect, again, the same type of growth as we did last time, then we're going to have a really big amount of laptops. We're going to have over 44 million laptops, almost 45 million laptops records over 5 years. So we know that laptops are going to be a large data volume object. Okay, so they're experiencing very rapid growth and are looking for more automated solution to maintain that will allow them to scale in the future. Okay, so they have they have rapid growth, and are looking to scale. So that's their need of why they need this. There are 4 types of or laptops to schools employees who will be using the system. So, okay, this is where we get the actors and licenses. So I'm going to open up now my actors and licenses slide here. And usually what I do is I put here a table of simply, one column is the actor, then here's the license, volume, justification, additional licenses. We can do either 4 or 5. I'm going to do in this case 4. So we're going to have the actor, we're going to put the license, and here we're going to put the justification, and here we're going to put the volume. And for now, we might not have enough requirements to list out all the actors and the licenses they require, but we're going to delve and go through that in the business requirements. So we have the laptop to schools donation coordinators. So donation coordinator is the first one. And then we have those work in regional offices and manage laptop donations. Okay, so the fact that they're referring to here regions and countries hints that they are looking some sort of role hierarchy requirements here. And indeed, if we scroll down later on, there are some sharing requirements that pertain to that. So let's keep in mind that they have regions and countries, and then they have those 2 delivery hubs, because that will likely be relevant for the role hierarchy. And they work, these donation coordinators work with corporations to validate donations and arrange shipping of the donated laptops. Okay, fair enough. The IT specialists work at the shipping and receiving hubs and are responsible for documenting laptop details. So the IT specialists then document laptop details. Got it. IT specialist here, and they are documenting laptop details as such. And the security team who works with laptops that contain PII data. Okay, so let's put the security team here as well, because they're security team members, and it looks like we're going to run out of a line, so I'm going to insert some lines below here just so that we have a good number of them. And then here we have the allocation coordinators. So I'm going to put here allocation coordinators, and the allocation coordinators are then, they work in regional offices and are organized into groups. Those that manage the allocation of laptops, the school ACs, and those that allocation of laptops, recycling ACs. So we have school ACs and recycling ACs. I'm just going to put here then the school ACs as separate and the recycling ACs here separately, just because we might have different licenses for them. Okay, and then if we go on to forward, well, then we have the managers that oversee the operations of a region. So the managers. And then, okay, I'm going to move this upwards because it seems like we're going to run out of space otherwise, as we haven't gotten to any of the external people yet. They would also like to give access to volunteers, so access to volunteers who set up the laptops at the schools, and virtual experts who help support schools. Got it. So we have also volunteers and virtual experts that are externals. So I'm going to insert here 2 rows below this, and here we have the volunteers, and here we have the virtual experts. And it doesn't say how many we have of these. They don't give any data volumes. So that means that we're going to probably have to assume, unless they give those in the business requirements. Then we get to the current systems. So currently they have access to the following disconnected systems. They have an inventory system, a shipping fulfillment system, and a cloud storage system. So let's put those onto the Lucid charts. Inventory system, shipping fulfillment system, and a cloud storage system. So this is the system landscape where we're going. And here I'm going to just put these shapes here. So inventory management system. And I'm going to make it a bit nicer so that we can copy it. I'm going to put so that the text is aligned to the top here. just a second, text here at the top, and the inventory management system. Then we have the shipping fulfillment system and cloud storage system. Shipping fulfillment system. And then we have the cloud storage system. There we go, cloud storage system. Oh, there we go. Okay, I don't yet know how these are connected, which is on-prem, which is being taken down. Okay, the inventory system stores a record of all laptops that are donated to L2S. Got it. So this is the laptop data that we have. So it stores record of laptops that are donated. It includes the serial number, model number, value of the laptop, and the final destination. And the employees access the system through the web. Okay, so it's through the web using system-specific login credentials. Got it. So this is outside of our DMZ, we can assume, because this is happening through the web. Okay. Then the third-party recycling companies also access the system to update the amount they paid for the laptops purchased from L2S. Okay, so the third-party companies are already accessing this system, and there have been the following problems with the inventory system. So the schools and recycling companies appear more than once, so that's a risk. I'm going to put here after the company overview the risks and assumptions. And here, as one of the risks, I'm going to put that we have duplicate data in inventory management system. Okay. And then the donation coordinators run a manual batch import from a CSV file containing a list of laptops, and the format is not consistent. Okay, so this is not a risk. This is something that we have to address in the business requirements. So we have a format that is not consistent for a CSV file containing a list of laptops. And we have to somehow keep this in mind when we solve the business requirements individually. The allocation coordinators manually update the inventory system with allocation details and may select the incorrect school or third-party recycling company. So they manually update the system with allocation details. So this is telling me that we need to automate this part somehow when we solve the business requirement. Manually update inventory system and select the incorrect school or third-party recycling company. That's a bad thing. And this system needs to be kept in place, but it requires that Salesforce be the system of record for third-party recycling companies. So we can go ahead and put Salesforce here as a system that we're going to use. And we don't yet know which all clouds we're going to put for Salesforce. I'm just going to zoom out a bit, and I'm going to put Salesforce here, and I'm going to make Salesforce bigger so that we can put these things here. The inventory management system we're going to keep, and the cloud storage system is obviously a cloud. And then the shipping fulfillment system, we're going to see where we're going to put that later on when we get more requirements. So the shipping fulfillment system is accessed through a web browser and stores shipping details for donated laptops received from corporations and laptops that are shipped to schools or third-party recyclers. Okay, so it's another cloud system, the shipping. So it seems, based on this, that there are no directly stated on-premise systems, which means that we're not going to need to have a demilitarized zone in our solution. And the cloud storage system contains videos of the software applications of the laptops, and the system's provided for us for free. So that to me means that we are not looking to get rid of it because it's at zero cost for us. And it's used for storing company process manuals. And it contains training videos and software applications for the laptop. So that's where we're keeping these assets that we're using for with the laptops. Okay, so in this business process requirements, they need a new system that needs to run the processes that they have here. And many of these processes are manual. They introduce errors in the data and prevent them from scaling. So here I'm going to put as a company overview, and that they want to get rid of manual processes. That's something that they want to do here. Okay, so we're going to go over these business requirements. What I like to do usually is I'm just going to insert here a table of 1 by 1, and we can keep on copy pasting this table, later on in the text, and write down, how we're going to fulfill each of these business requirements. So when schools apply for laptops, they currently download a PDF laptop application form and fill the school name, address, number of laptops, number of students, type of classes, and required software. They then scan and submit the form via email and attach the documentation. Okay, so this is definitely a manual process, and we want this data in a structured form. So what we're going to do is we're going to recommend Web to Lead, which is a standard solution, and we're going to assume that we have under 500 leads per 24 hours from the schools, since that's the limit for Web to Lead. And that's a very standard way of solving this. This also means that from our data model perspective, any applications from schools for this will come in as leads for this. We may need to change the solution later on if we find that there's something inconsistent with the use of leads here. But that means that in our data model here, we're going to put leads here. And leads basically we are going to put here leads. Nope, not like that. And leads, they are a private object. And since there's further down some sharing requirements around this, but we don't know anything else if it's going to be a large data volume or anything else. So we're just going to keep it as is. Corporations initiate the laptop donation process by sending a donation batch CSV file to laptops to schools. So sending a donation batch file to laptops to schools. That's what they do. The CSV file lists the laptops in the donation batch and is grouped by PC or Mac, and then is further broken out by model number and operating system. This file also includes serial numbers for each laptop in the batch. And then the coordinators save the CSV file and run a manual import process on the inventory system, and then manually create shipping record. Okay, so that's the current process. But what we should do here is we can automate this. So what we should do here for this part is the CSV file. We're going to have them upload that using Experience Cloud. So Experience Cloud site with LWC to upload CSV and load records into Salesforce. So that way they can then do that on their own, and we will provide them a sample CSV file on that page so that they can fill that template out when they upload it to Salesforce. So provide sample CSV file for consistent formatting. And the LWC will have all the logic of parsing the CSV file and saving it into Salesforce. All right. And here we're going to highlight the key terms here that they are. They have the laptop list, the laptops in the donation batch, and it includes serial numbers for each laptop, and that they need to save the CSV file, run import process on the inventory system, and then manually create shipping record for each shipping record in the shipping fulfillment system. So we're also going to have this be done automatically. So this is our first integration. So since we are creating this, they're uploading the CSV in the system. I'm going to assume here that we need immediate user feedback for them when they're uploading the CSV in the system. Just so for the user experience, that when the CSV file has finished uploading and all the records have been saved into the system, we need a request and reply integration that will push the laptop records. It will push laptops to the inventory management system, and inventory management system will return shipping record, and we will then display to the user a success message and a link to that shipping record. Okay, and then the shipping details will not need to be sent in this case. In fact, so shipping details, no need to send shipping details separately. In this case, because they will get those via the CSV file. So here, how we're going to take care of this integration is likely we're going to need to have a middleware in place, but we're going to see about this other integrations that we have of whether or not the middleware is actually needed. I'm now assuming here that there's an API, preferably a REST API, that the IMS system now has. Okay, some of the other larger corporations have asset management systems that store attributes for laptops, and they want these corporations to send the details to the inventory system. So what we're going to do then is, this is in fact a sort of API management requirement, is we have an API that allows sending of data, which will then create the records in Salesforce, which will launch this whole process. So we can leverage the logic in the middleware to complete this requirement. And same thing here is we will then have a middleware. So then in the system landscape, we need to add a middleware. We need to add the ESB system here. ESB. Okay, so ESB will then be connected to Salesforce. We know for sure it will be connected by at least request and reply pattern. So we're going to put request and reply. And we're going to know that the authentication between ESB and Salesforce, JOT flow, is always what I would recommend here to go with. I'm going to zoom in a bit so that we have this here. So looking at the... Okay. I'm going to have to enter the text box here separately. Just a second. Okay, then in that case, and we're putting that... So text is going to go here, and it's going to be this R and R is here, and we're going to put the text here, and the text will be that it's a JOT flow. And I will bold this also. Okay, and then, it's not going to be request and reply, it's going to be, REST that we use here with the ESB and the JOT as well. So we have the inventory management system, which will then clearly be connected with the ESB as such, and we're assuming that that is done via REST as well. We don't know about the authentication mechanism, so we might get to know that down the line in the future. All right, I'm just going to check that the recording is still on, and the recording is still on. So then this API will also be made public. So I'm going to add that to the system landscape. So I'm just going to draw an arrow here as such, and I will invert these arrows here, and I'm going to just label it public API for donations as such. So this will be connecting to the systems of the customers later on. And then let's move on to the next business requirements. So when the laptops arrive at the shipping and receiving hubs, the specialists begin the intake process by checking laptops for personally identifiable information. Okay, got it. So we need to check the laptops for personally identifiable information. That's why I'm going to bold this. So if any, and this is being done at the shipping and receiving hubs. So if any of the laptops contain personally identifiable information, the specialist should flag that record, and the security team should be notified immediately via email with a link to the laptop record. So IT specialists flag the record, and the L2S security team is notified via email. Email will link the laptop record. Oh, sorry. And I'm going to just copy this table, and I'm going to insert it here. And here, all right, we're going to solve this requirement by, here we have to sort of start deciding how we're going to model these laptops. So each laptop, they've given us that it has a serial number. They've given us that there's a humongous amount of them in terms of data volume that we're expecting over the 5 years. So to me, this is pointing to the fact that we should use the asset object to model the laptops. So, well, we have the leads object, and then we have here the asset object, which I plan to use for the laptops as such. And related to that, one thing that exists related to that is that we have the standard relationship between case and asset, and we can just leverage that relationship here. So let me draw it as such. Nope, it actually works the other way around. So we have the many cases that can be opened up per laptop, and the case has a lookup relationship to the laptop. Okay, so if we go back here is quick action on asset to create case. And then the security team will be a queue, a case queue. And we will send a notification. We will set an email notification when cases are assigned to the queue. That's a very simple solution. We should keep our solutions simple when we're solving for these scenarios. Then the security team reviews the PII files and sends the email to the corporation that includes the donation batch with the details. So this, I'm assuming, oh, sorry, again, this Lucid is a bit difficult. So here I'm assuming that we can just use email to case, and we can use the case send email, no, not email to case, excuse me. We can use the send email action on case here, and the serial number, file name, and type of PII that the file contains. So they will just type that into the case, and notify that they can either request the hard drive be shipped back to them or confirm the files have been deleted. And sorry, not going to highlight that. So we should notify corporation that they can either request the hard drive be shipped back or confirm that the files have been deleted. So we have the send email action on case with email template containing this information. That will simply take care of this requirement. If the corporation does not respond within 5 days, we have a security team user who is assigned to the laptop and should be notified if there's should be notified that they have 24 hours to delete the files. So here I'm going to use a scheduled flow. So when they send the email, we'll set the case to we'll set the status on the case to waiting customer information. And then we'll have a scheduled flow that checks if it's been more than 5 days in the waiting stage. And if it has, then we will notify the user that they have 24 hours to delete the files. So we will use a chatter post to this, mentioning the user. So it'll be the owner of the case that we mentioned in that case. That's a very simple requirement to solve. When the security team user deletes the files, they remove the PII flag, and then the record should be reassigned back to the previous specialist. So here we have PII flag as field on case. And we have simply a record triggered flow. Well, actually, no, because in the next requirement that they, we have a record triggered flow to change owner back. Change to original owner, and this will be stored on a field in the case, the original owner, which would be the and then we're going to use a flow to populate this original owner field on the case. And if the PII flag is not removed within 24 hours, the record should be assigned to the security team user's manager. So here, I recommend that we can use another scheduled flow for this. We could use escalation rules, but that would be the only place where we're using escalation rules. So I'm just going to use a scheduled flow here. Then the specialist complete the donation intake process by adding detail to the laptop records that includes manufacture date. So they adding detail. So IT specialists complete donation by adding detail to laptop records, and it includes all kinds of information. And what we're going to have is we're going to have these as, and these are used to assign the laptops to the schools according to their needs. So what we're going to do here is these are fields on asset, done. And the laptops that are designated for schools are assigned a monetary value using a standard government estimating websites that exposes a web service. So here we have a requirement that we get the information from the web service. We're going to use a fire and forget integration here with platform event fired when asset record is marked ready for review or ready for valuation, and this will be then caught by the middleware. So ESB to catch event and get the value and update back to Salesforce. Very simple integration that we're using here. The designations of the monetary value of the laptops designated for school should be updated in the inventory system in real time. So, okay, in real time, we need them updated in the inventory system. So that means that this above integration also includes updating the IMS with values. Laptop records should then be assigned, and this will be a request and reply type of integration that will be done by the middleware. Laptop records should then be assigned to school ACs or recycling ACs in the region based on the volume of records currently assigned to them. So to me, I'm assuming that the less you have assigned, the more you should get assigned. So I recommend for this that we use an Apex trigger for this. I considered here using Flow, but in Apex it's very easy, or actually, yeah, we're going to use record triggered flow with Apex action to get the school ACs. And the laptop records are assigned, one at a time once they get processed according to the assignment of who has the least laptop records owned by them. Okay. Moving on to the laptop allocation and shipping. A significant percentage of operating income is generated by selling laptops to third-party recycling companies, and they does not have currently reliable method for determining pays most. This is a pain point that they have. And the recycling ACs need to be okay. So recycling ACs would like to be able to see average dollar amount that third-party recycling companies have historically paid. Okay, so if they need this type of history data, to me, this seems like we are going to need some sort of integration, and it should be per laptop model. So here I will recommend using CRM Analytics to create data visualization of laptop model prices per recycler. And this is simply or CRMA to create the CRMA to create not data visualization, but CRM a dashboard. And this way we can include, because the laptops are going to be very high volume. We expect a lot of growth here. So we cannot keep all of that on platform. We need some sort of archiving strategy later on, which is why we need CRMA for this. We can't simply use Salesforce reporting for this. And they would also like third-party recycling companies access to populate a table with data that can be used to determine the rates. So here we can then, I'm assuming that this is a custom object where basically they will provide rate is basically the record. And rate, then the third-party companies tells me they're going to be accounts. So we have here accounts. And for accounts, we have, we're going to keep them private, of course. But in terms of record types, we have the schools. Then also we have the donors. And then we have recyclers. I think these are all different types of record types that we need to cater to according to this scenario. And the companies need to populate a table with data. Okay, so rates for the this. So we have the then we need to expose here a rate object, and it's gonna be like this. I don't think we need this here. Account will have multiple rates, and the rate will have the attributes of the laptops basically that we have. And then we can match these asset records, these laptops, according to the rate records provided by these account. And it should be account singular here. Okay. Rate custom object. And the recycling AC would like to see the 3 recommended third-party recycling companies based on this data. So this is going to be a CRMA use case. So CRMA, we're going to use that. So that means that actually the recycling ACs need here, I'm going to give the recycling ACs a CRM Analytics license. Okay, and when they select a recycling company for wrap, the inventory system should be updated. So here we have also fire and forget pattern using platform events, where we have ESB listen to platform event from asset status change. And then we are going to update the info in recycling, in the ISM. And here we don't, my assumption is we don't need any user feedback directly, since this is sort of system to system integration that's happening in the background. Okay. So the school ACs currently review the applications for laptops in their region and run a search in the inventory system to see which schools have not had laptops in the 12 months. Okay, so this is, to me, seems like the school ACs, they need to run for their region a search in the inventory system to see which schools have not received laptops in the past 12 months. So they need to use the inventory system via Salesforce. Here, I recommend that we have an LWC with R and R integration using the inventory management system APIs via middleware. And the simple reason is that I'm assuming that the application here that we're using is not an in-house built application that we could modify, so we can't use Salesforce Canvas for it to embed it inside Salesforce. And this way we can get the see which schools have not received the laptops in the past 12 months. Actually, no. The school ACs could also use CRM Analytics for this. And that would actually be the best approach here. That would, since we already have that. Yes, so CRMA for school ACs. Yes. Okay, so that means that we got to give the school ACs also CRMA. Would like to optimize the allocation of available laptops to schools by matching the requirements from the school application with the characteristics of laptops that are designated for schools. Okay, so the school application, that's, remember back when we had the first requirement, business requirement, that was what we solved with Web to Lead. So with the Web to Lead, the school applications would be leads. So on the lead page, basically, and it's on the lead page, we're going to have the, we're going to need to display some functionality for them to quickly get, what are the laptops that this particular school is looking for, and which ones from the inventory system match really well with them. and they will tell us, the amount they need, what kind of specifications they might need from the laptops, what are the uses, that kind of information on the lead. So then that means that here actually we will, after all, need then here after all we'd need this requirements from the school applications with the characteristics of laptops that are designed for schools. Optimize allocation of available laptops, and this is by matching the requirements from the school application with the characteristics of laptops. So to fulfill this requirement, I would recommend also to use CRMA to do some sort of fuzzy match here for this purpose. Yes, because then that way we can combine the both from the data set. Yes. So we can set as parameters for CRMA that get these and use fuzzy matching there. Yes. So school has received more than 500 total laptops in the current school year. Then the school ACs must approve the allocations. Okay. So if for this one, we're going to retain a counter of number of laptops. So and we're going to use approval process for this. Okay, school ACs then assign a volunteer to set up the laptops at the school and install software. Okay, and they need to track the skills of each volunteer as well as their performance based on feedback from schools. So here to fulfill this requirement, we need to have the volunteers. They need to have then access to the system, and they need to track the skills of each volunteer as well as their performance on the previous setup assignments. So to track the skills, I guess we should use a custom object in this case. Yes, custom object. And their performance on previous assignments based on feedback from schools. So then if we look at this requirements, there's no requirements on how we're actually doing that. So I'm going to assume that we can use the Salesforce surveys for this, for feedback. And then we're going to, Salesforce surveys for feedback. And when the allocation of the schools is finalized, laptops to schools would like to automate the following steps. Okay, but first of all, before we go into that, actually, we need to put the skill here as the custom object. So we have here, obviously, we have a user object right here. And we're going to need to put under the user object something called skill. And we have it as a custom object. User can have multiple skills. And I'm assuming that skill can be modeled as a pick list and that there aren't, 200 different skills, but more like 20 here. So, a number field is what we'll use then to store the skill level. And the reason why I'm using a custom object is instead of the standard one is because we're likely going to give these users an external user license, which doesn't allow us to use other options available. So when the allocation to the school is finalized, Laptops to School would like to automate the following steps. They want to update the inventory system automatically and create a shipping record. So here, to fulfill this requirement, we are going to be using the middleware integration here. So simply, we're going to update the laptop status in that using the request using the fire and forget pattern again. Fire and forget integration platform event of laptop being allocated, and then middleware, middleware, in this case it's called ESB, to update the inventory management system. The school and the assigned volunteer should receive a school allocation letter in their local language that includes the laptop delivery date, the corporations who donated the laptops, the total laptop value in their local currency, and contact information for them. So here I recommend that here we need to generate a PDF. So we're going to use Conga Composer to generate this PDF for this. And let me highlight some words here. So we should have the receive the allocation letter in local language that includes the laptop delivery date and the corporations donated the laptops and the laptop value in local currency. Okay, and local currency and contact information for the volunteer assigned. Yeah, we're going to generate this with a PDF. But this also means that we have some sort of laptop allocation record that needs to exist in Salesforce so that we can group these items together. So let's put allocation here as a record. And we're going to use a custom object for allocation. Allocation can have multiple laptops, but a laptop cannot be allocated more than once, is our assumption. Okay, and allocation always goes towards a school, like this. Like this, yes. Okay, perfect. And we're going to move these and make the diagrams really pretty later on when we complete this diagram. When all laptops in the batch are allocated to a school or sent for recycling, the corporation should receive a tax donation letter. Okay, so we also need to track the batches of the laptops. So when laptops in a donation batch are allocated, the corporation should receive a tax donation letter. Total value in both USD and corporation's local currency. So in fact, if we think of this in our org strategy, we're likely going to, because we're also a global company. So org strategy, we want to unify the processes and make them more scalable. And in this case, I don't see a reason to go multi-org. So we're going to go single org. And we're going to need to go multi-currency. And we're going to need to go multi-language. And that means we're going to need to use translation workbench, community translations, custom labels, VF email templates, and all these things. Yep. All right. And looking at this then, total value, so this will be done via this requirement 6, which we left off, this will be done via an Apex. No, it will not be done via Apex trigger. It will be done via a record triggered flow that will check whether or not when a laptop is allocated or whether or not all the other laptops have been allocated. And we will have a Conga composer to generate PDF, which we will launch from that flow as an action. And this PDF will be then sent to the donor as email attachment. And that means that we have to have the donation here. So looking at this, we need donation here as an object. So donation. Donation goes to here. No, actually it's the other way around, like this. Donation goes this way, allocation, and this goes here. Case is still here. Donation sticks there, account sticks there. Yeah, good for now. Then if we think of going forward here, then we get to the laptop setup and support processes. When shipped laptops arrive at the school should electronically sign a receipt. So laptops arrive at school should electronically sign a receipt. So when school electronically signs a receipt, that means that we can use an AppExchange package here, such as DocuSign, to send a confirmation letter that they received the laptops. So DocuSign to verify receipt of laptops. And we can use Conga Composer to generate the document that is being signed. And when the laptops arrive at the school, so this is again from our, here we have the allocation. So when the allocation is fulfilled, the laptops then are displayed in that PDF document. And that's my thinking of how it's going to go. So volunteers should then be volunteers notified to schedule a visit. Then is what should happen. So, well, we're going to have a chatter. I don't think we can solve this requirement yet. I'm going to leave it blank because there's going to be more coming in the next section. Okay, never mind. There isn't. So volunteers should be then notified to schedule a visit to the school. So for the allocation then, we're going to have a chatter post on allocation mentioning the volunteer. Volunteers visit the school and are required to check in on their mobile device when they arrive. Okay, so this to me, since they're external users, means we are going to need some sort of mobile publisher. And we're going to have status on allocation, which they change when they arrive at the school. And they download software from the cloud storage system to each laptop. L2S has 20 software applications that they provide for schools. So 20 applications is not too much. But this is something that is done outside of Salesforce completely. It's not something that we're going to do deal with whatsoever. I don't think we need Salesforce. When each Salesforce application is installed, volunteers are required to track the software name, license ID, and license expiration date. Each laptop typically has 5 software applications. So my recommendation here is actually to limit the data that we need to store in Salesforce, since we're dealing with only 20 applications, is that we're going to have these as fields on assets. And I considered here that we would create asset records of these applications as well, but that's just going to increase our data volume a lot. So in this case, because we don't have any other things that we're using this information for than to just track it, I recommend that we actually put this as fields on assets and denormalize the data model, sort of. And then the volunteers need to be able to collaborate with other volunteers regarding setup issues with the laptops. So for this one, I recommend using Chatter. And schools who receive laptops should be able to record a thank you video on their mobile device and share it with the companies that donated the laptops. So for this one, we're going to use Mobile Publisher. And Mobile Publisher has camera access, so this is sufficient. And upload video to the allocation. And then to share the video with the donors of the laptops, we're going to need to have we're going to need to copy that file over to the to all the donors that donated laptops here. So we need Apex. We don't need Apex sharing here. We need a record. No, we can't use record triggered flow. Because we need to upload the video and then we need to also share it with them. And because file sharing in Salesforce works in such a way that if you have access to a record, you have access to all the attachments of that record. So in that case, and I think the best way to fulfill this is an LWC. So we have an LWC listing thank you videos for donors that they can see on their xCloud site. Because that way we don't have to duplicate the files inside Salesforce, and we can enjoy quite nice solution that way compared to having to duplicate the files. We could go here for an external file storage system, but I'm not imagining that we're going to have we can also avert the need for that by building this LWC, which is a lot easier to implement than some sort of external file storage system that we have to manage. And we got 1,000 virtual experts to troubleshoot software issues, and they need to provide a forum where students can ask questions and receive responses from other students or virtual experts, and chat in real time with an expert in the region. So, okay. So virtual experts need to be able to chat in real time. So that's something that they're going to need a Service Cloud license for, actually, and because of digital engagement. So virtual experts need Service Cloud, and they need the digital engagement license. And justification here is real-time chat. But students also need a license. So if we read that requirement here, so let me here add another row below, and we're going to put here students, and their license is they just need to be able to use Chatter. So we can give them just Chatter external licenses. And justification is Chatter, because they need to just be able to ask questions as such, and then they need to be able to use chat as such. And the volume, what was the volume again? We have 1,000 virtual experts here. Okay. Security team members are working with cases, so they will need Service Cloud, Sales Cloud or Service Cloud. Same with IT specialist. And donation coordinators are also working. They're using leads. No, they're using assets. So they can actually get away with platform licenses. Is my thoughts here. Okay. So this fulfilled. So Chatter license to students and Service Cloud plus digital engagement to virtual experts here. Okay, now we got the data model and the migration system. So the new system should be the master of records for schools and third-party systems and companies. So here we're going to implement the change data capture via ESB to update info to other systems. And that will fulfill this requirement, and other data should be imported into the system as needed to support requirements. So this is something we're going to deal with in the business requirements. So basically in the data model, we're going to need to import everything that we have in the data model to the system. So I think this one, we don't actually need to put here anything. Now we got to the accessibility and visibility requirements. So corporations cannot see each other's records. So for this one, we're going to need to have a private external sharing model. And that takes care of this. Only designated contacts and corporations can see tax donation amounts for the laptops donated by their corporations. So this is field level security with a permission set. And this takes care of it. Only users on the and the designated users will be assigned this permission set. And then since you only can see your own data, the sharing model will take care of that. Only users on the L2S security team and their managers can see and update laptop records for containing PII. Okay, so the security team for laptops containing PII. This means that we have a private sharing for the laptops, but we have a criteria-based sharing rule that PII is only shared with this public group. So we'll model this security team as a public group and their managers as another public group, and then we'll have a criteria-based sharing rule that shares it with them. Only DCs can modify the laptop rates on behalf of the third-party recyclers. So this will be done via field level security on permission set. And laptop to school donation coordinators should see only laptop donations for their region. Okay, so this is where we come into where the role hierarchy comes into play. So we have the donation coordinators that are responsible for their region, and then we have the managers. So if we go back up here, we had here the managers, oversee a specific region. So, and we were located into 12 country-based regions. So here I would put this in the role hierarchy and use the role hierarchy to drive the sharing requirement. So role hierarchy. So let's think of the role hierarchy then. The role hierarchy I'm going to put here. So at the top we have the CEO as always, like this. And then below the CEO, we have region 1. Region 1. And then here we have the different coordinators. We have the school ACs and recycling ACs. school ACs and recycling ACs. Donation coordinators also. Yep. The corporation tax ID and the tax donation letter document should only be visible to DCs assigned to the corporations. Okay, so this we can do by the corporation tax ID and the tax donation letter being a custom object. So we'll call it a tax ID. And it will be parent of account. And then that way we can display it on the record page with private sharing. So let's put that into the data model. So we'll need to have the tax ID. Tax ID. And account will be it will be the other way around. Tax ID will be looking up to account like that. And the tax ID record will be owned by the DC, the donation coordinators. So let's mark that as an owner here. Yep. Then let's go forward. So only recycling AC should see the amount that third-party recycling companies pay for laptops. So this is simply a object level permission. And field level security. And I'm going to base it on permission set as well. Schools should be able to see all laptops allocated to them, but should not see other schools' allocations. So this is an external private sharing model. For asset and share set. And actually here we have this requirement as well, that we have share set in this case. Volunteers should see school details, laptop serial numbers, and shipping information only when they are assigned to set up laptops. So here we'll use a share set on allocation, and we need to have a lookup from allocation to contact. So let's do that here. Allocation to contact, and there will be a lookup, no, the other way. Since a contact can have many allocations, so this way we can use this as a basis of share set for this requirement. And internal users would like to access the new system through their corporate intranet and should be able to sign in seamlessly. So to me, this sounds like we need some sort of SSO implementation, SSO, but it doesn't say corporate intranet. I'm assuming that we need to have SSO, but here it didn't give any information as to what we have currently that we are using as our tool for this purpose. So I'm just gonna assume that that they're using Active Directory. Then we're going to have Active Directory here is one of our systems, and we're going to use SAML as the way of authenticating users. So let me put Active Directory here. AD, and they're going to access Salesforce using SAML. Cool. Oh, okay. Well, uses Active Directory and internal users to be automatically provisioned and deprovisioned. So for this one, there exists a we can use for provisioning and deprovisioning, we can use ADFS. So this is actually ADFS can be used here. And that's for provisioning and deprovisioning users, and that's for, we can do that with SAML. And volunteers in schools will be able to use Twitter or Facebook credentials. So, okay, then here I'm going to put Twitter and Facebook, and we're going to use OpenID Connect to connect with those. So here we have Twitter, even though Twitter is no longer called Twitter, it's called X, but whatever. And it's connected to Salesforce, and it's connected via OpenID Connect. Or we're just going to call it OpenID is the name of the protocol. OpenID. Okay. And we're going to use social sign-on to fulfill this requirement. Okay, then we move on to the reporting requirements, and then after that we're going to polish up the rest of our artifacts. For this one, I'm skipping the data migration slide. I'll be skipping that because the data migration for this one is rather straightforward. I'm going to be doing a different scenario where I complete that particular artifact. So for the reporting requirements, L2S would like to build a dashboard for corporations that shows the top 10 corporations who donated laptops by region. So I'm going to recommend for this that we have an LWC. It's very, very simple in requirements, and that way it's just a single use case, so using CRMA would be overkill for this. Schools should be able to see the following reports: a history of all laptops that have been donated to the school, including the allocation received, the date of the laptops were delivered, number of laptops delivered, the volunteer who set up the laptops, and the monetary value of the laptops. So history of laptops that were sent to the school. So this means to me that we're actually going to need to have some sort of external object for the laptops that we archive them to. So we're going to call it laptop. And it doesn't, and okay, we'll have it doesn't support a sharing model as such, but this is something that we're going to archive them to, like that. And we will need to have some sort of archival process for the laptops. And the archival process will be simply deleting them because we do have all the laptops in the IMS. So laptops exist in IMS. External object called laptop with ESB as data source with OData 4.0. And we're going to put that into our artifacts here. So if we look at the ESB, we're not only going to use REST, but we're also going to use OData 4.0. And we're going to also use platform event. Okay. And to expose as external objects. List of software and licenses expert should be on the school. So we just put these as fields on the assets. So these will be available. And they need to be able to see this, so they will be able to see this in a list view. L2S would like to see a trend number of monetary value of laptops corporations over the past 5 years. Here we recommend the CRMA license. Okay, so let's polish up our artifacts and make sure that we have everything in order here. So I'm going to finish off with the actors and licenses. There was absolutely no mention about the managers whatsoever, but I'm assuming that they use Salesforce for reporting purposes. So we're going to give them Service Cloud. And the justification is assume reporting access to all relevant objects. And the volunteers, they will be using CC license. And schools, in fact, will be also, school staff needs to be also using a CC license. And the justification is xCloud access for both. And the justification for not using any other license is there's no advanced sharing requirements. Justification is leads here and leads here. No, sorry. School ACs don't actually work with cases. Neither do recycling ACs. So they can get away with platform. And they can get away with platform as well. Let me verify that from the data model. Yeah, we have this. Yeah. And there's Salesforce Access is for the donation coordinators. But they don't need it actually. No, school ACs, never mind. Yeah, actually, if the only custom object that these, or object requiring Sales Cloud access is leads here, I'm actually going to change my solution here a bit. And I'm going to use a web form. To create a custom object record. So what I'm going to change my solution is I'm going to get rid of the leads because that's only using leads, and for this very niche purpose doesn't make sense to use that license. So web form to create custom object record called donation, no, not donation request, but laptop to create application record. So we're going to put that into the system landscape here. We're going to put that here, application. And the schools are creating many applications potentially like this. And the web form to create via, it will be created via API in ESB that will create the record in SF as well. That way we can get rid of the leads, and let's think here, and that way the school ACs and recycling ACs can only use CRMA, and the IT specialists and security team members can use Service Cloud because that's what's required for them to create the cases. And they have cases for customer service is the justification here, because even though cases are available for platform licenses, it's contractually prohibited to use them for customer service purposes. There was absolutely no mention about the volume, except that maybe there's 5,000 companies. So we're just going to have to assume the volume. Donation coordinators. I don't think it explicitly mentioned how many there are. There's 5,000 corporations, so maybe I'm just going to assume that there's, 5 per region, 12 regions, so that's 60. And I would say for IT specialists, we're working same thing. Security team members, we have less, maybe 30. School ACs, I assume that we're going to assume there's 60. Recycling ACs, we're assuming that there's 60 again. And managers, there's 1 per region, so 12. And volunteers, I don't think it said how many volunteers there are either. I'm just going to assume there's 5,000 volunteers. And then school staff, I'm just going to assume it's also some amount like that, like maybe 10,000 is what we have school staff. And then the students, that I think was mentioned though, somewhere here in the end. Yeah, the laptop setup process, virtual experts. No, it doesn't say how many students. But I'm going to assume that the students, we have like maybe 500, or let's say 100,000. There we go. So that's the licensing done. Now we just need to pretty it up. So let's decrease the font a bit. And let's scroll this thing down. Come on. There we go. Let's scroll this thing up like that. Yeah, I think we're good to go here. Okay, let me remove this from the background. That click to add text is really annoying. It makes it hard to read our actors and licenses, and let me bold the top row. So boom, we got actors and licenses done here. Good job, us. And then the role hierarchy we still have to finish, and we have to finish the system landscape. So the cloud storage system really isn't connected to in any way to anything, and the shipping fulfillment system is also, well, basically it's connected via REST also to Salesforce, and this one needs arrows on both sides. Looking at this one, so we're going to connect it like this one, and we're going to connect it like this. And it's REST here for both. We're doing the connections via the ESB cloud storage system. Then here in Salesforce, with regards to Salesforce, we have the mobile application. So I recommend here that we have just one mobile application for the Salesforce side. It's usually better that way. One mobile application for external users. I mean, there was no explicit need for internal. So we have here the mobile publisher app, and that's actually using REST and user agent. Yep. And the cloud storage system is sort of off here. We're not doing anything. In fact, we're not really retiring any system when it comes to this system landscape here. Okay, let's take a look at our data model. We have the contacts, and of course we should probably have the users as well for the Experience Cloud site. Let me put that here. User and contact has one-to-one relationship, so I'm going to change that to be 1 like that. And okay, so let's think of how the process goes. So we start off with an application for the laptops. We start off with a donation of laptops. Then we have a case for each laptop to get see if there's any personal identifiable information. We have that flag on the laptop. Then the laptop is allocated via some allocation to a school. Yeah, that works. And then we have the application for the laptops that's made by the school. And we match then the allocation actually for the application. So perhaps we can also connect these like that, because that way we know which application resulted in which allocation being made to the school. And that helps in the processing. We have the rates for the different laptops here. We also have the laptop X for the archived laptops, and then we have the tax ID for the account. So this data model, I think it's rather complete in terms of the structure here. Now, where we have master detail and where we have lookup relationships, I don't think anywhere here we will need to have explicit, user actually, never mind, we already have user here. So we're going to put skill actually as a related to contact. So like that. So I think this is a rather complete data model for this particular scenario. So the data model also here is done. System landscape is done. And then let's go back here. So here, if we think of the company overview, I think this one is done. We have all the info that we need for the company overview slide. Our org strategy is done. Let me move it just around a bit. We have the duplicate data here, but then we have also the risk of mobile publisher app. And that can cause a delivery risk. And this duplicate data is a business risk. Because we won't be necessarily able to deliver if we don't get in touch with regarding the publication of our mobile publisher app on time. Actors and licenses are done. The role hierarchy, I think we have the centers here though. So we have the laptops arrive at the school, but then there's not explicitly actually mention of any other. Well, no, actually there was mention here, not about the allocation, but about the personally identifiable information, and there's related things to the manager. Security team users manager. So we have the security team that's working here, and they have a manager. Then we have these managers. And the school's AC's manager must approve the allocation. So we have, I guess, some role hierarchy here of the managers. So if we go back here, I'm just assuming that the region head is the manager of the AC as well as the recycling AC. But when it comes to the security team, we got the security team manager. And then we have here the security team member. Like that. I think this role hierarchy will suffice here. I don't think we have any other requirements here. Okay. And we've solved all the business processes here. And we have built a solution here. So I think our artifacts are done. Now I just have to move this Lucidchart diagrams here to this slides, and we can present this. Thank you very much.